Hashi answered their kill count question. The room never recovered. HFY Sci Fi narration script extended cut target runtime 14:30:15. The Asheville Combined Officers Academy on Threshold Station had been training officers for 142 years. Its graduation rate was 58%, the lowest of any accredited program in the coalition, and by policy, intentionally so. The academy did not exist to produce officers. It existed to filter for the small number of people who could survive becoming one. Alumni held command postings across 9 fleets. 3 sitting fleet admirals had graduated from its halls. In 22 years, 7 humans had been admitted and passed. The current class had 1. Threshold Station itself was old enough that parts of it had been rebuilt twice, each time larger, each time absorbing more of the coalition's ambitions about what an officer should be. The seminar rooms still used real wood paneling, shipped in at a cost nobody questioned, because the academy believed history should be felt in a room, not just taught in it. Corin Vass was 24 years old, from a frontier colony called Hollows Reach, a settlement so far past the coalition's active patrol lines that it did not appear on most star charts, because it had never asked to. His admissions officer had read his file 3 times before signing off on it. The first pass produced a service record that did not match the age listed on the application. The second pass was to check for clerical error, a transposed digit, a misfiled year. The third pass was to contact the auxiliary registry directly and request confirmation, which came back within the hour, unambiguous, time-stamped, and correct. Corin had not mentioned any of this. He had arrived at the station with 1 bag, a folded leather strap that had belonged to his father, and no escort. He checked into his quarters, unpacked in 11 minutes, and reported to the range the next morning before his instructors had finished their coffee. The strap was for steadying a rifle across the shoulder during long watches, the kind that lasted through a colony night with no relief coming. Nobody at the academy asked what it was for. Nobody asked him much of anything in those first weeks, which was its own kind of answer, the silence of people who have decided, without evidence, what a person from a place like Hollows Reach must be. He did not correct them. He went to class. He trained on the range. He ate alone at the end of a long table, and he wrote reports that were shorter than anyone else's and needed no revision. The challenge came in the 3rd week, in the officers' history seminar, the kind of room where reputations were built or spent, where cadets performed for each other as much as for the instructor. Cadet Avrin Tass, a Dren, 3rd year, ranked first in the class and aware of it in the particular way that people who have never lost anything are aware of their standing, introduced the human question the way certain cadets introduce questions they have already decided the answer to, which is to say, with the timing and tone of someone who has prepared it. A question dressed as curiosity, delivered at the exact moment the room's attention had nowhere else to go. "So, Vass," Avrin said, not quite looking at him, addressing the room more than the man. "What's your kill count? Just curious how a farm colony makes it this far into the program." Several cadets smiled. It was the category of smile that happens in rooms where a hierarchy is being quietly reinforced, not because something is funny, but because everyone present understands which side of the joke they are meant to stand on. Instructor Meska, seated at the head of the table, said nothing. She had been waiting for this exact discussion since the 2nd week, when she had first requested the perimeter logs from Hollows Reach through a channel most instructors did not know existed, and sat with them long enough, alone in her office, to understand precisely what she was looking at. She had not told anyone what she found. She had simply waited for the moment the class would ask for it themselves. "That's a reasonable question," Corin said, in the tone of someone who genuinely found it reasonable, no defensiveness in it, no edge. "Do you want the auxiliary number or the total?" The room went quiet in the specific way rooms go quiet when a question has produced a second question nobody expected, and nobody yet understands why there should be two numbers at all. The total, Avrin said, recovering his smile a half-second too late for it to look natural. Corin said a number. The smile stopped the way a wave stops, the ones closest to him first, then outward through the rest of the room until the last smile on the far side of the table simply had nowhere left to go. Instructor Meska let the silence hold for 3 full seconds before she stood and brought up the footage. It was not dramatic in the way academy training simulations were dramatic. There was no music, no dramatic framing, no slow motion. It was documentary, a fixed perimeter camera on a colony wall, time-stamped, unedited, the kind of footage that exists because someone thought to install a camera and never thought anyone outside the colony would need to see what it recorded. The first case study showed a raid at night. 3 attackers, moving along the tree line with the particular confidence of people who did not expect a colony without a garrison to have any answer for them. There was a long stretch of nothing, just wind on the audio track and the faint hum of the perimeter light. Then one shot, fired late enough into the approach that it should not have landed, and it did. The second case study was daylight. A supply convoy, 6 vehicles, moving toward the colony's storage depot. 11 seconds passed between the first shout of alarm and the last of it being finished. Nobody in the classroom spoke. The third case study ran longer, nearly 90 seconds, the camera catching a defensive position being held against what the footage log identified as a raiding party of 9. By the end of it, Avrin was no longer smiling. He was watching with the expression of someone doing a calculation that was going to take longer than the class period to finish. The fourth case study was quieter than the others. No raid at all, just Corin alone on the wall at 300 station-adjusted time, doing nothing except watching, for 4 hours, because that was the job and there was no one else scheduled to do it. The fifth case study, the last one Instructor Meska chose to show, was the shortest. 14 seconds. It ended with the colony's warning siren going silent, not because the threat had ended, but because there had been no need for it to keep sounding. Corin did not speak during any of it. He watched with the room, the way he had watched the raids happen the first time, not detached, simply steady. His eyes did not change with what was on the screen. They only changed with what he was thinking, and what he was thinking did not appear to be about the room at all. It appeared, if anything, to be about the colony wall and the wind, and the specific weight of 4 hours with no relief. Instructor Meska let the last case study run to its end before she spoke. Hollow's Reach has no garrison, she said. It has never had one. For 6 years this cadet was, functionally, the garrison. Nobody asked a follow-up question. Nobody had one left to ask. Class ended without the usual noise of chairs and conversation. Cadets filed out in a silence that had nothing performative left in it. Avrin stopped at the door, not looking back, and said, "The auxiliary number and the total are different by about 40. It was not an apology. It was a recalculation, spoken out loud because saying it once, to no one in particular, was easier than carrying it silently into the next room. Corin folded his father's strap back into his bag and picked up the rest of his materials. No satisfaction in it, no pause for effect, no glance toward Avrin's back as he left. The work was still the work, and the room's opinion of him had never been the thing he came here for. Instructor Meska waited until the room had fully cleared before she spoke again. "Since the second week," she said, "I was waiting for the right discussion topic." "You could have told me you'd pulled the logs," Corin said. "You didn't ask me to wait," she said. "So I didn't." He nodded, the way a man nods at a fact rather than an opinion, and slung the strap over one shoulder before walking out. Instructor Meska sat alone for a while after he left, the footage still open on the screen in front of her. Then she opened the term assessment file and wrote 3 words. Already commands respect.